It's an issue that's left so many people in a tough spot tonight. Since the beginning of the pandemic, tens of thousands of Washingtonians received notices of overpayment from the Employment Security Department. For the most part, cases were resolved after people submitted more information explaining what happened.
But some are still receiving too much money, and now ESD wants that money back. Fox 13's Jennifer Lee joining us in studio tonight. What a stressful notice to receive, Jen.
Yes, it really was. The people that I talked to tonight say that they were blindsided. They received pandemic unemployment benefits under the belief that they were covered, and then received notices saying they owed thousands and in some cases tens of thousands of dollars.
In my opinion, nobody should be asked to pay back 1 cent of any of this in the first place.
Chelsea Rustad's husband was one of 1 million people in Washington state who lost their job when the pandemic started back in 2020.
It was really upsetting and surprising and confusing to see that he's being asked to pay back benefits he qualified for.
Rustad says her family needed that money to survive during those uncertain days and never imagined ESD would later come back asking for a big chunk of it.
Fast forward to a year and a half later, in December of 2021, he received an overpayment notice letter from ESD stating that he owes ESD $7,904 in overpayment.
Now, Rustad and others are advocating for a blanket waiver of overpayments during this current pandemic. Several people plan on testifying at ESD's public rulemaking hearing on Thursday, including Rosa, a mom of 3 from Seattle.
They were saying I owe $39,000, then it went down to $38,000, and then $35,000 now.
Rosa says she was notified of overpayment back in September and submitted an appeal, but 6 months later, she's still waiting on a hearing date.
It's been, really, for lack of a better word, a nightmare.
From the beginning, there were issues. Rosa says she had to wait 9 months to receive any unemployment benefits after losing her job at the start of the pandemic.
It's definitely going to be a stressful situation because I don't have the money to pay that back. That's not something that I thought I would have to do.
We reached out to ESD on unemployment overpayments. A spokesperson says, quote, the majority of claimants who received overpayment notices did so because they failed to respond to multiple requests for information we are required by law to collect. Once they provide that information, assuming they're eligible, the overpayment can often be cleared. The smaller group are claimants who ultimately received benefits they are not entitled to and now need to pay those back or apply for a waiver.
They just have so many errors. It doesn't make any sense why all of these people, I'm not the only one, all these people are getting all these overpayments. That doesn't make any sense.
And there are thousands of people who currently have ongoing overpayment cases. Before, it was in the tens of thousands, but again, ESD says many of those have been resolved. The ESD public rulemaking hearing starts tomorrow morning at 9. Back to you guys.